Welcome to the Divine Purpose Podcast, where we transport you along one of the more dynamic journeys of life. Have you ever been curious to know what it takes to become a successful leader? Or about knowing the secrets of life through the Bible? How about engaging in conversation where no topics are off limits? We will take you to new levels with guests who can help you grasp the importance of your calling. Now, here's your host, Eddy Dacius, founder of Dacius Facilities Management.
Hey everybody, this is Eddy Dacius. We have a great show for you today. This episode is brought to you by Dacius Facilities Management. Dacius Facilities Management, they will manage your property, commercial property, church. They will manage everything like your church, your building, your school, with a variety of services, cleaning, vendor management, construction, facilities management. Call them now, 617-237-0106, or go online at daciusfm.com, daciusfm.com. We have a great guest for you. Her name is Kerniah Casseus. She's the youth leader of the Free Pentecostal Church of God. Hey, Kerniah, how are you today?
I'm good, Eddy. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited. This is our 9th episode. We're going to talk about you. So what can you tell us about you?
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on this platform this evening. It's an honor, so thank you for choosing me. So for all the listeners, my name is Kerniah Casseus. I am a daughter of 2 immigrant parents. I am the oldest of 3 children. I have a brother and a sister. I have my bachelor's in public health. I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in public health. Like Eddy just said, I serve as youth leader, youth president at my church, which is the Free Pentecostal Church of God, which is under the leadership of Pastor Jean and Lady Katlyne Lewis. I love to travel. I love to try new foods. I am a foodie at heart. And I also just overall love having a great time with great people, friends, family. I am a strong believer that God is not looking for perfection, but progression. So that's something that keeps me going every day.
Oh wow, I like that. So let's go deeper. So parents, Haitian, maybe talk about them a little bit.
Oh my goodness, my parents, they are a headache. No, I'm just joking. I love my parents. I love them. They are as supportive as they can be. They are heavily rooted in faith in God, and I really appreciate that, because although they may have came to this country with not much, what they have instructed myself and my siblings has been very beneficial. And I truly love the fact that they're faith-based and that they truly value God in their lives. So I love that. And I love how they brought us up with that as like a foundation for me and my siblings. Yeah.
Oh, well said. So one thing I like in DPPodcast is a platform where we talk about your calling. But to understand somebody's calling, you need to go to the background. So how was it for you growing up in a Haitian household in the US?
Okay. Growing up in a Haitian household, like every Haitian child knows, l'école, l'église, la caille. That was literally it. And believe it or not, I feel like those 3 things really formed me. Wow. They are really like the foundation of who I am. Education is so important to me. Church family, ministry, so important. Black family, just like learning about how family's like your first ministry is so key. And even though I may not have a family of my own, I'm trying to teach myself to understand, like, my parents, my siblings come first, and I can't put anyone before them. If they need my help, if they need me, I try to make myself as available as possible to be there for them, to be of support.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that's definitely. So you have a brother and a sister, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So can you share the fight?
Oh Lord. I mean,
give us some detail. I know you don't have to go deeper, but
yeah, sure.
Stay on the surface.
Okay. I feel like every sibling fight.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the age gap. We always fight. My brother and I used to fight a lot when we were younger, but then we're only 2 years apart. So as we got older, we related a lot, and we were always there for one another. And he ended up, being my best friend. And my sister and I were 7 years apart. So that's a huge age gap. So there was a lot of tension, a lot of butting heads. So we did not get along growing up. But now, if anything happens in my life, no matter what it is, she's one of the first people that I go to say, guess what just happened to me? So we came a long way. And I can say God definitely did that, because there were times where I went to God, I'm like, God, this is just not working out for me. But we came a long way, and we've definitely gotten closer as we both get older. So, yeah.
So can you touch on what changed on your, like, when you were younger with your brother, and then now you guys all maybe
what changed with my brother?
Is it age where people get mature?
Yeah, definitely maturity.
Okay.
And just understanding one another and how we think and how we do things. We're very different, but we're similar at the same time. So I think just looking past the flaws and just truly saying, like, this is my only brother. Like, it's a blessing. And he's so protective over me and my sister. Even though he's the middle child, you would think he's the oldest, the way he comports himself.
Yeah.
So I really value that. And he always makes sure that, we're good as his sisters, that we're never in need. And if we do need, like if we ask him for anything, he's always there for us. So definitely maturity, communication, and just understanding, like, everyone's personalities, characteristics, and, just trying to be there for one another.
That's very, very good insight. And like I said, I have sisters too. Fighting is the nature of it. I'm the youngest, so you understand. Everybody's on me. So
Wow.
But I get it. But yeah, the same way you said it, sometimes they think I'm the oldest because of the way being a boy and the way they kind of teach you all to kind of take care of everybody.
Yeah.
But can you talk about your parents? So I don't know if you have can you go on their background when they came here, or was it for them?
Okay. My parents. I know my mom is from Port-au-Prince and my dad is from Kwadebuke.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. I don't remember when they came.
Okay.
I know my dad came here first. They got married in Haiti.
Okay.
And then my dad came here first, yeah. And I think around 1980s, my dad came, and then my mom came early 1990s. And my dad did the best that he could. He found a job, he found a place. He just made sure that everything was ready and prepared for my mom, who was coming. And he helped her get established in this country. So, it's interesting when I hear the stories of how my dad survived here on his own. It's amazing, and it's crazy. And you would think, Haitian parents, you would think that, they don't know certain things, but you'd be surprised at the amount of things our parents know in this country. So Yeah, that's just all I can remember at this moment. I don't remember much.
No,
When Haitian parents talk, they go on
oh,
and on. So you just tune them out after a while.
no, it's hard to keep up because they go in and out. You need to have the big old pictures to kind of follow them, and which makes sense because there are so much parents they enjoy. So I understand that. But let's talk about your education. So from Boston, so where did you go to school?
So I live in Milton, so I went to all elementary school, middle school, high school, all in Milton.
Okay.
And then for college, undergrad, I went to Regis College. I stayed on campus. The best 4 years of my life. I'm kidding.
All right. Wait. So let's talk about it. I know because college life is great for some, but some people will say wasn't that best, but that's great. So for you, can you touch about what happened for you? What did you experience?
Yeah, sure. So college really opened my eyes to life.
Okay.
I realized that I was very sheltered and I did not know much about like real world stuff.
Okay.
And that could be contributed from my parents, just, that's all I knew. So that's all, I was around. So going to college, living on campus, I was scared. I was nervous. I thought I wouldn't like it, but I feel like I found my footing there.
Wow.
Living on campus really, first and foremost, it will show you where you are in your faith, 1. 2, how you perceive the world and how you see people. And you will learn a lot on campus, just with the various people that you meet, the things that you experience, how you deal with stress, how you deal with negativity, like negative news. So it really, like I said, it opened my eyes, and nothing in life, I don't regret anything in life because everything is purposed. But I really feel like it was an experience that I needed to go through to be the person that I am today. Yeah.
Definitely. And we have our 8th episode will be available tomorrow. And Samina Esteve, she was talking, she's a physical therapist, and she was talking about college, a college adventure kind of help her embrace who she is, who she was, and then get off her comfort zone and then try to embrace life the right.
Yeah.
Do you know why? So what happened exactly? So can you take us there in detail? What exactly happened in your first year in college, and then how was the transition?
Oh, sure. My first year in college. Oh my goodness. It was interesting. So it was never easy for me to, make friends just throughout my life, just because I was always a shy, timid girl. So it was a little difficult for me to make friends in college. My roommate, thank God she was Haitian, so we had that in common. So we would hang out a lot, we talk, and we became really great friends. Our parents got to know each other, so that was cool too. And it's funny, my roommate's mom used to work with my mom at one of her old jobs. So it's so interesting how God is in every detail, because this is such a new season, an uncomfortable place for me. Yep. And there was just some sort of comfortability with like, oh, my mom knows your mom. Okay, that's good. That's not too far off. So with that, just getting to know her, just trying to be friends, getting to know my neighbors in the dorm rooms. And I decided to come out of my comfort zone even more and join a club. I joined the step team. and
Wow.
the Black Student Union. Yeah.
Oh, ooh, really? I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
know that.
did. I love the step team. It really pushed me out of my comfort zone. It really did. Um, I was also during that time I was in the dance ministry at church, so being on the step team was somewhat similar, but
Yeah.
also different. And I got to meet new girls. Just met new people, performed with them during shows, etc. There was, I think it was the first Thursday. So in college, on campus, there's this thing called Thirsty Thursday, where every Thursday night there's a party or some sort of like a wave, what they call it. And people are like, drinking or, whatever they do, college people, what they do. And so the step team was hosting up the party as a fundraiser, I think to buy uniform for an upcoming show that we had. And it was at that moment I had to I was questioning myself. I'm like, I've never been to a party before. This is not how
Yeah, I
my
know.
parents raised me. Like, should I go? And then the attire the girls were wearing, it was very
Yeah.
provocative and showing off. I'm like, this is not me.
I know.
What should I do? And at that moment, I was fighting between being true to myself or what I thought was myself, or just trying to fit in and just going with the flow.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was 18. I was 18. So I'm trying to figure out what should I do? What should I do? I don't want to be that girl that people say, oh, she's a Christian, she doesn't do certain things, she can't go to a party, what's wrong with the party, etc. But then I also wanted to, be a part and just try to fit in as much as I can so that I can make more friends, to the point where I asked my dad to bring me to the mall and I bought an outfit for the party. So I went to the party, and when I got there, I did not have fun.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
What happened?
It just wasn't my scene.
Wow.
I went, I stayed up as much as I can. I didn't do anything. I was just trying to get in the groove of everything, but it just was not it. So I left.
Wow.
And I think at that moment, that's when I knew I don't need to conform myself to the world's standard. I don't need to try to fit in to please people of this world, but to be true to who God created me to be, who God called me to be. And there are certain places that, certain people can go, certain Christians can go, but for me, your salvation is personal. Your relationship with God is personal. So at that moment, that just wasn't a place for me to be at. So once I realized that, I told the director I had to go, and then I left. And I went back to my room and I watched Netflix.
So I know there should be you probably were like you said, kind of confused, but did you pray, or was it you in a conversation with yourself?
It was just me in conversation with myself.
Wow.
Me in conversation with myself. It was from the beginning, even when I was contemplating whether I should go or not, I feel like that's already the answer. If I'm confused, if I'm conflicted, then that should already be a key to say, yeah, maybe I shouldn't go, because I've never gone to a party like that before. You know what I mean?
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But so college. So did you play any sport at all? No.
Oh no, I don't.
No tennis. No, nothing.
No sport.
Why not?
I'm just not the athletic type. That's just not me.
So what was your hobby in high school?
In high school, let me see. I liked art. I love to draw. Yeah, I haven't drawn in a long time, but art was a great hobby of mine. Um, I liked taking pictures, like photography,
Okay.
videos. I did a lot of that in high school.
All right. So you graduate from Regis College,
Yeah.
and what happened next?
Oh, what happened next? Well, graduated from college. Everyone is so proud of you. And then they're asking you, oh, what? Okay, what's next? What's next? I'm like, I just graduated yesterday. What do you mean? What's next? Can I enjoy my vacation just a little bit? So after college, I was just looking for a job wherever they can get me. And it was hard. Oh my goodness. It was so hard finding a job. See, I graduated in May. I had a job, like a retail job. It wasn't anything serious, but I wanted a real job. But I applied, rejected so many times. It came to a point where I just quit my retail job because I was sick and tired of it. I applied for like a temp agency that got me little jobs here and there. They weren't necessarily like full-time jobs, part-time. And at that moment, I struggled a lot with my mental health and stress to the point where it was affecting my actual health. So that was a very dark time for me, but that was a time where I seeked God the most.
So do you want to share all the details out of it? Because we had Rebecca came and she was talking about mental health affect people.
Yeah, sure. So at that time I couldn't find a job, and my mom and Haitians, they try to be supportive, but their supportive is not supportive at all.
Yeah.
So, in college, I graduated with my bachelor's in public health. My parents have never heard of public health before. All they knew is nursing.
I know.
Shout out to all my nurses. Y'all are the best. You guys are awesome, for real. So beginning of college, my intended major was nursing, but then I ended up changing my major just because the classes were a little too difficult for me, and it was affecting my academics. So I switched to public health, which is not too far from nursing, but it's just not too direct. It's more broad and general. So I graduated with my bachelor's in public health, and I could not find a job for the life of me in the public health field. At the time, I did not know public health is all about connections. You need to network. You need to know people to get into the field. So I'm applying for jobs, nothing. My mom is in one ear. Oh, if you did nursing, you wouldn't be struggling this much. If you want to go back to school for nursing right now, I will pay for you. Blah, blah, blah. And it was not encouraging. It like affected me mentally. And I really had to go to God. And I had to pray. Oh my God, I find so much passion and so much like fire in my heart for public health. There's a reason why, I studied public health. I did so well in school. Why is it so hard for me to get a job? Like, I need your help. I need your assistance. So during that time, as I wasn't working that much, I really had to pray. I really had to read my word. All I listened to was gospel music to just really try to get my, get my mind in a better place.
Spirit, right?
Yeah. And then I had a friend who was who recently got a job because she was in the same boat as me.
Okay.
and she worked at a eye clinic, an optometry office, and she recently got that job. And then I asked her like if they were hiring, like I would apply, and she spoke to her boss. I applied, and then I got the job. I believe like January, February of the next year. Yeah.
Wow, that's really really an amazing story. But the part I like about it is where you said you were like struggling and you went to God for answers.
Yeah, I had to.
Yep, and I think too, and we had Chloe Lucy, she's a producer, and in her episode she was saying networking is the key.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, if you can network, it will be easier because people talk to each other, and then we come in.
Yep.
But you said something that's very interesting when you said Haitian parents are not that, they are supportive, but they're not that supportive. Can you go deeper on that?
Sure. They do the best they can, and I feel like Haitian parents, they are aggressive without knowing that they're aggressive, and they want the best for their children. I get that, but they fail to understand there's a way that you need to speak to your children. How you may speak to one child is not the same way you speak to another child. So me being the first in my family to get my bachelor's degree and to complete college itself, like, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. My siblings are looking at me and my successes and my failures and learning from that. And I just felt like there was just so much weight on me. So for my parents, I know they want the best for me. And, there's only so much that they know. All they know is nursing, lawyer, doctor, engineer, because they know that those are the fields, the professions that quote unquote make money. They do make money, but anyway, there are other fields that are just as important. So Haitian parents, they fail to realize like everyone has their own path, everyone has their own journey. And it's important to like support and to back your child in whatever journey that they're going on. It may not be the journey that you may have wanted for them, but nonetheless, just be there and just try to encourage and say like some nice and kind words. And the tone is everything. It's not what you say, but how you say it. So I'm just like, if my mom was like, what do you think about the nursing? Do you still want to do that, or that's just not something you want to pursue? Like, how she spoke to me could have really made a difference. But it was more so like, if you did nursing, you wouldn't be in this position. How do you know? You know what I mean?
Quick question: Do you think fear might be the reason they acting like that, because they're afraid that the child fail? They went to college, they want them to succeed, but I think fear might be a big.
It could be fear too. It could be fear because they don't want their kids to fail, and I get that. I understand that. Like, who would want their kid to fail? Go through 4 years of college. Your loans are up to here. And all that money, you don't want it to be something that you wasted. I completely understood that. I understand it. But like I said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
No, that's that. And I had Brenda Lawmill. It's the same situation. She said, yes, parents are tough. But before we leave that subject, can we talk about your relationship with your dad? Because I heard and I know Haitian dad are very, very jealous for their daughters.
Fuesago? I don't know.
You don't know?
My dad. It's funny you asked that question, actually, because God really had to check me with my relationship with my father.
Okay.
My father has been in my life all my life. He's very present. But I did struggle with the active part of a father being in their daughter's lives. And, it's not necessarily, God helped me understand that it's not his fault just because his dad wasn't in his life. So he did not necessarily have a model to follow for his kids.
Yep.
So God taught me and is teaching me continuously to give grace and to teach my dad how to, talk to me, how to treat me, how to love on me. Because Haitian men are not, they're not as affectionate as
Jesus, help me.
women. From my experience, I'm not going to generalize.
It's true for everybody, and a lot of people I know, they say the same thing. But that's something we're working on. But go ahead.
So I had to really understand, my dad did not have that example. He grew up with his mom. So it's a constant teaching process and a learning process. Like if I'm getting dressed up, Daddy, how do I look? Although I may want him to say, oh, you look beautiful, without me asking how do I look. But, just trying to like baby steps. Like, Daddy, what do you think? There are certain comments he says. I'm just like, okay, I should have just kept it pushing. But we came a long way. We're communicating more and just trying to, like I said, practice grace. And I realized that we're more similar than I thought. So certain actions or things that he says, I understand because that's something that I would do myself.
Wow.
So I try not to take it too personal.
Wow,
and I'm like, okay, just reel it back. Okay, Daddy, how do you really feel? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's good.
Wow. No, that's really good. No, I said that's great insight because that's one thing I like about this the DP podcast live. It's we hearing things that we never had a chance to talk about, and people will learn from that. So let's go about why public health. Why public
health? Public health. Well, why I chose public health back in college is because at the time I thought, maybe nursing isn't working out for me right now. If I do public health, I won't be so far off with nursing. I will still have to take the same prereqs. And then when I go back into nursing, I won't have to take extra classes. I'll be good. But as I was officially in the field and taking the classes, I just loved it so much. Although I may not be helping people one-on-one and giving direct care, I knew that I wanted to help people anyway.
Okay.
And public health, I love it because it's for the people. It's just trying to promote healthy living, healthier lifestyle for those who are living with disparities and in disparities.
Wow.
And I learned that public health, it thrives off of minority populations that are struggling. And me being a minority, being Black, being Haitian, being a woman, I'm like, why not help people that look like me? And, push and encourage and motivate and educate them on, the blessings that this country has to offer. So that's why I think public health, I love it.
That's your calling, definitely. So take us to your first job and your first couple weeks, couple months? How was your confidence level?
My first job. So my first job was the eye clinic. My confidence level, it wasn't high because it wasn't necessarily public health. But I was proud of myself, and I was very grateful that God, blessed me with that job. It was my first big girl job, I call it. So I really felt like, I got my footing from that job. I learned about like finances. I made great friends from that job, lifelong friends, even though we may not work together anymore.
Okay.
But here and there, we stay in contact with one another, use each other as references. So it was great. It was great. Yeah, it was just, I felt like I finally made it in adulthood, even though at that time it was not adulthood at all.
I know.
But I was paying off bills, my loans. It was hard to get adjusted, because then I realized when summer came, I didn't have summer vacation anymore. I had to work.
Yep.
So it was a hard reality.
Okay. Wow.
But I got used
I never heard that before.
because I was so used to having summer vacation. So when you came, I'm like, okay, so we're gonna keep working. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. Like, I didn't know there was no break. But after a while, that job, the environment was very toxic.
Okay.
I ended up leaving, I think in end of July. End of July, I ended up leaving. And God taught me a serious lesson about obedience and waiting on His word. So, long story short, the boss that hired me, they let her go because they wanted to promote someone else. I think the secretary, or I don't remember exactly what she was, to manager.
Okay.
So they let my manager that hired me, they let her go, and she had another job. And in that job, she reached out to me and told me that it's way better than the current position that I'm in, and it paid more. So I was like, oh, okay. So then I applied. No, I don't even think I applied for the position. All I did was send a resume to her, and she offered me the job. And so then I gave my 2-week notice to the new manager at my current job.
Yep.
And my friend who got me the job also gave her 2 weeks too. So we both quit the same week. So then we both went to our hiring manager's other job that she hired us at. And once we stepped foot in that place, that was a dental office. Once we stepped foot, there was just so much like obstacles that we were facing left and right. Either we didn't look like we were enjoying the job, or we weren't operating at a level that they wanted us to operate at, which was weird and crazy because we're new, so we're trying to learn everything on the job, but I guess not at the pace that they may have wanted us to understand it at. Long story short, the big boss was not having it.
What?
Yep. And then we had a meeting with the manager that hired me again, and then she had to let me go.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah, I'm laughing at it now, but at that moment, I was...
Yes, I understand. I think everybody can relate to that, but we've been there.
Yeah.
But how did you get out of it?
That one was hard. That one was a hard one because I thought to myself, I don't know how I did this to myself. I listened, instead of listening to the voice of God, I listened to people.
People, yes.
And I followed the money. And I didn't consult God and ask him, God, is this the right move for me? So second time, it's around the same season as the year before when I was trying to look for a job after school. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed.
Back to square one.
We're back to square one. Exactly. I was depressed, like to the point where I would not even wake up, like get up from my bed. I would stay in bed all day, barely eat, applying for jobs, going to interviews, nothing. Oh my God. I think the second time was worse. And it's crazy when you God will put you in a class, and if you don't pass the class, you're gonna have to repeat it. And if you repeat the class, it's worse than the first time. So it was from that moment where I've learned to never move forward until God says go, and ask for multiple confirmations before saying, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like, no, go to God, pray, see if this is what God wants for you before you even make a decision on whether you should take the opportunity or not. Consult God, wait until he says yes, and go. If he doesn't say anything, then don't move. Stay in your position until he says go, or say, wait, I have something better in store for you.
This is, and I like what I'm hearing, and because this is part of me too. I made the same mistake, but at the end of the day, what you said is true. You better pass the class, because if you don't pass, it will get harder.
Yeah,
get harder for you. So let's talk about so now you're the youth leader of the Pentecostal Church of God. So can you take us to that journey?
Sure. So I've been a youth leader at FPCG for a few years now. I think since 2012, 2013. But I was the secretary up until 2018. 2013 to 2018, I was youth secretary. And I loved that position. I loved it. In 2018, I was promoted to co-president. So that was interesting. I'm the type of person, I like to be in the background. I thrive in the background. I like no one to see me. No one needs to know like what I'm doing. Like I'll help administrative wise. Like that's one of my gifts. I'll help in the back. I will organize. I will plan. I will talk to people that you want me to talk to. Like I will facilitate things. But me being in the foreground, being up front and personal, I hide. So it's interesting how God works, because he has a funny sense of humor. It's not funny at all. It's not funny. So I got promoted to co-president, and it was a little challenging for me because, like I said before, I grew up as a shy, timid girl. I don't like the spotlight at all. But for some reason, God has always put me in the spotlight, always. So I think those were like building blocks to build up my confidence. So 2019 in November, I was officially promoted to youth president. And it was the scariest thing in my life.
Wow. Why?
Because I'm not the type of person to give orders or direction. And I also have a lot of insecurities. And I felt like me being in that position really heightened that and really exposed my insecurity in myself, in my confidence, in like the people I'm around. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just more of like a me thing. And it's something that God is working on me to this day. Because right now, let me see, it's almost 2 years that I've been youth president. And there are times where I'm just like, God, are you sure? Are you sure? Like, it's me? Even though God has confirmed it, it's confirmed with me that
always have that.
I should be president. He has confirmed it multiple times. But then there are like moments of doubt, moments of like, God, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. Like, are you sure? Like, are you sure it's not someone else that should be doing this? I can help them. Like, I can help them. But then God reminded me of the story of Moses.
Yep.
Because, Moses had a speech issue. He was insecure about that. And doesn't matter, what insecurity Moses had, God called him. God equipped him. God encouraged him. God, everything that Moses needed for his time in ministry, he already had it. He just didn't know he had it.
Yep.
And God, same thing with Moses. Like, God had to tell me, like, everything you need, you have. I provided that for you. You just need to trust me. You just need to be sure that I have your back, that I got you.
Yes.
So that's just what I'm standing on. And I was telling a friend today, I was telling them, like, the other day I told God, I'm like, God, I don't want this anymore. I don't want it. And God told me, he's like, people didn't place you in this position. I did.
Wow.
So you're not leaving until I say you're done. I'm like, okay, Flem, thank you. Like, thanks.
I know. So can you share about, like, with us, what's some challenges you encounter in that role?
Some challenges that I encounter, and it's not like a personal thing. It starts with myself. And a challenge that I realize is that I'm facing right now is discipline, time management, and preparation. So as a leader, as the president, my team in the ministry, they're usually waiting for me to give the go-ahead for certain things. And because I feel like I am juggling so many things at this moment, it's hard to manage everything and to fully give my 100%
Yes.
at all times. So there are times where I drop the ball, and I know I dropped the ball, and I apologize, and I just try to move forward and just try to be better for the next time and be more prepared and use my time wisely. Yep. Instead of just watching Netflix. That's something I love to do. So that's just a challenge that I face right now. And it's not with anyone else. It's just with myself.
Yeah.
It's something that I need to work on for myself so that I can help improve my team, because it starts from the head. So I can't expect my team to be productive, or I can't expect the youth to be productive in the things that they're doing in life if I'm not being productive with myself.
Definitely.
So it starts from me. So that's just a few challenges that I'm facing at this moment as president. Yeah.
So what's your goal for the youth? Where do you want to take them?
That's a great question. Where do I want to take them? I want the youth to be at a point where they are just so sure and they can stand firm on their relationship with God. Because it's a personal thing and it's a decision. For me, what started my relationship with God, I struggled with anxiety growing up. So I realized when I'm in troubled times, that's when in fact, that's everyone, but that's when I go to God the most. And that's where I'm learning more about God and learning more about His Word and the things that He's asking for me. So for the youth, I want them to really want that strong relationship with God, because when you have that strong relationship with God, you'll be able to recognize His voice. You'll be able to to be able to discern his spirit, when people are, speaking to them, or if they're at an event or at like a church service or whatever, that they're able to be sensitive to the Spirit of God and to be aware of, the mighty move. And not only that, but to also be doers of the word, right? Because sometimes we hear the word, we're taught the word, but we don't apply it to our lives.
No, definitely what you said makes a lot of sense. So now we're gonna turn to hot topics.
Okay.
So hot topics is a segment where we talk about things that people don't have a chance to talk and to bring.
Sure.
So you being a youth leader and at the Free Pentecostal Church of God.
Yeah.
So now my question is, so why do you think there is but people don't, like, youth and old people or older people, they don't see eye to eye in the ministry?
Yeah. That's a great question. I feel like the older generation, they are stuck in their ways. I feel like they're so used to culture and so used to routine.
Okay.
And the younger generation, I feel like we're more progressive. We are able to adjust to the times because times are changing. Like, although, we may be the same people, but like the youth ministry itself now is not the same ministry as it was last year, as it was a year ago. And so as young people, we are able to adjust. We're able to adapt a little faster than the older generation. And because of that, I feel like we butt heads a lot when it comes to ministry and when it comes to the Word of God, right? So there's certain things in the Bible that, God could be speaking in a parable, but we could find two different meanings from that passage. And it shouldn't be like that because, the Word of God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So there's a lot of I think it's like different mindsets and perspectives on life that just causes the friction when it comes to youth and adults.
So how can we change that?
I think to change is just being more open-minded, being more open to hearing what the adults have to say, because granted, they have been in l'Evangile ministry for years. There are certain things that, they know, but doesn't necessarily mean that what they know is right. And as us who are growing up, who are just trying to learn and try to understand God, there are times where we can sit down with the adults and learn from them and learn from their experiences and learn from the wisdom that they have, right? And then also just trying for the adults to also listen to the younger adults and try to understand, their point of view and how they see the world and how they view God, and just trying to find a middle ground that'll work with both generations. Both parties just being open to hearing one another. Because like you said, the older adults, there's wisdom that they know. There are experiences that they have that we haven't experienced, that we haven't gone through. So it's just more so creating a space where the adults can have a sit down with the youth and just share, things that they've gone through, share the revelations that God has given to them. But oftentimes the adults, what they want is for the youth to be like them. And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And they really don't give room to authenticity, and they don't give room to originality. The Bible says that, body of Christ is made out of parts. All the parts are working together, but each part has their function. Each part has their purpose. And, the part of the face, you can't have, there's ears, eyes, mouth. Although their purpose is different, they all work together to ensure that the face is functioning the way that it needs to. So
I cannot decide to hear with my hand.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like the adults, they don't really give room for personality. They don't really give room for the young people to be themselves, to be using their characteristics to worship, to minister, to be used by God. You know what I mean? I have, for example, like rap, right? A lot of these young people, they like to listen to rap. They like to listen to, artists that rap about things that they like. And you can use that as a platform to draw people closer to God. It's the message that you are relaying to the people, right? And the older adults, when they hear that, and it could be the way that they were brought up and like their culture, that, when they hear rap, it's probably not even something that they want to listen to, because that's not, in their eyes or in their ears, that's not something that is good or something that produces anything good. So I feel
a lot of people will disagree with you on that, and I understand why. But I understand your point of view too, because it's two different generations.
Yeah.
Do you think the middle ground can be God? Should be God.
It should be God.
Okay.
It should
because
be.
I feel like the best middle ground we can have is God. But what you said made a lot of sense, and I appreciate you bringing this into the discussion, because that's something I always hear. Youth, when I, like in my church in Haiti, the same thing.
Yeah.
Older people, they don't like the youth. Youth, they don't go to the older people for advice. So that's always the same thing.
Yeah. There's, like I said, there needs to be like the willingness and the open like mindset of just meeting each other halfway and just trying to understand each other from different perspectives. But the older adults, they have this persona where, they know more. So what they say is what goes.
Yes.
And, like, you can't challenge them, or you're disrespecting them. You know what I mean? So there's not much of a space where the youth can, genuinely ask questions or be themselves and ask for biblical references, because then they're gonna think you're freaking. So
yeah, you're right. So this is something you're gonna have to, and I think you're dealing with. But what's your plan to tackle this issue?
What is my plan? Prayer.
Yep.
Prayer. Just being patient and just trying to not write off the adults, because that's how they grew up. That's what they know. But giving grace and teaching them, no, what you're saying may not be right. Here is, biblical reference. Here is what the Bible says, this. Just trying to say in like a, easy and a soft tone, so I'm not coming off as rude. And just trying, be an example also for the youth. Because at the end of the day, people are watching me. They're using me as an example. So just trying to be that model of trying to bridge that gap and trying to have that middle ground with the adults. Because even my mom, lately, we've been butting heads a lot because we see scripture differently. We see ministry differently.
Yeah.
And we're at a point where in her mind, because I'm her daughter, I have to agree with everything that she says. But with my walk with God, and this is why I want the youth to really have that firm foundation with God, because with my walk with God, God is revealing me what exactly he's talking about in scripture. And I have to teach my mom and tell my mom, no, mommy, here's what this verse is saying. Here's the context of this verse. Here's why it was said in this manner. We're in an age of technology. We have Google at our tip of the fingers. Like, do research, find out why was this verse written the way that it was written. Get context, and then, educate, teach.
No, definitely. Great insight. But last thing I can add to it is, if you get your dad to come around with you now, so I think you can have the older people to be on the same page. So now I like to leave the last part for fun stuff. So you said you like traveling. Yeah. So can you talk about lately the travel, where you've been?
Yeah. So I've traveled to 2 months ago. I went to Miami for a girls trip. That was very fun. I think it was the first trip outside of COVID. So that was exciting. I've been to Jamaica. That was really fun. It reminded me of Haiti so much. I loved it. And I will be traveling in a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to that with my friends.
So you've been to Haiti?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. So your favorite food over there?
Oh my gosh. Everything's my favorite food, just because it's fresh. You can tell the difference from food in Haiti and the food from here. It's not the same thing. So I guess I would say my favorite is the fritai. I love fritai.
Fritai.
Yes.
Yeah. Pickles too.
Yes, I love pickles.
That's a good. Now that's good stuff. Yeah. No, definitely. So we got to the end of this episode. This is our 9th episode with Kerniah Casseus.
Thank you.
So she's the youth leader of the Free Pentecostal Church of God. Last word for you, Kerniah?
Just the same quote that I started with. God is not looking for perfection, but progression. As long as you try, as long as you put in effort, God will honor you for what you do. That's just about it. Have fun, live life.
Thank you. So this is Divine Purpose Podcast with Eddy Dacius. This is our 9th episode. Stay tuned for more episodes. Every Wednesday, we'll have a new episode online on DPPodcast Live. Thank you for watching, and see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for watching the Divine Purpose Podcast on YouTube. For more streaming with interesting guests and premium content, subscribe now on YouTube.